This is the Wandering Mike.
Welcome everyone to the Wandering Mike. Today I'm here with Ri Chen. Hey Ri Chen, how's it going?
Yeah, hi, I'm good.
That's great. You're enjoying the beautiful weather outside today?
Not really, it's very gloomy.
It is. Uh, all right. I'm looking forward to our talk. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. So, to get us started, if you just want to introduce yourself and give us a little bit about your background, what have you been doing, what has your life been like?
Oh, okay. So I'm Ri Chen,
Mhm.
and I'm 28 years old this year. Just turned 28, and
Mhm.
I'm from Singapore. So right now I'm in New Zealand for a working holiday.
Mhm.
And previously I'm back home as a engineering job in the aviation.
And
Yeah,
aviation, that's what
yeah,
you did. Oh,
yes.
cool. All
Yeah,
right.
so I worked quite a while before coming here. Yeah, to take a break.
Yeah. So we're definitely gonna talk about that. We're gonna ask you some questions about that. But before we do, the one question everyone gets asked is, what is your dream? What is one goal, the one dream that you, reach and have in your life?
My dream is to right now is to retire early.
No, that's a great dream. That's a
Yeah,
that's a good dream.
to have time to do what I want. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a
I
that's a
think
good answer.
yeah, to have the freedom, because back home, when I was working, I don't have much time.
Right.
Yeah, to travel, to enjoy myself. Yeah, so coming here, I actually have more time for myself, and then I discover more about myself as well over here.
It's nice. So with that dream, obviously, I think, or I believe, coming to New Zealand was a big part already towards that dream. But in specific, how are you trying to get to that dream? Like, what also, like, what would you tell other people that might have that same dream? Like, how do you go at it?
Hmm. To me, like if you want to retire early, you have to find a way to have some income, money.
Right?
I think yeah, that's the only way, right? To not work. Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so for me, I do investment
Mhm.
to earn some income. But generally, in New Zealand, it is somehow enough, just nice. But on some months, maybe I don't earn that much. But on some months, I earn enough. So
Right.
so in total, it's still not enough. So yeah, so I'm still trying to get to the point of having enough for to cover my expenses, but also at the same time, like to I do also need to have to live more simply and not spend
Right.
like crazy, like shopping or go drink. Yeah, so I don't do those kind of stuff to reduce my keeping my expenses low. Yeah. So just living very simply. And
Yeah. Think it always depends on different people you ask, but I feel like the majority of people would probably say that the most efficient way to like save up money or like to have money to survive is actually cutting down on the expenses
yeah,
because that's easier. Obviously, you have to like you said, you don't go out as much. You can't buy new stuff every month, so you're kind of losing out on quality. Some people
yeah,
might say, but I think yeah. And you would you agree that this is the easier part of cutting down the expenses?
yes, yes. But, like one person have to understand the difference between needs and wants. So something that
Right.
if the item or the food is a need. That you have to eat lunch, dinner, so it's a need. But you
Yeah,
don't have to eat very high class restaurants or high class food.
right,
So you just have to fill your stomach, right? So if you want to eat high class restaurant, all this, it's a want already. It's not a need.
exactly.
Yeah, so you need to know how to differentiate between needs and wants. And yeah, but of course, you sometimes you can treat yourself. Like you don't always have to, you know.
I, I feel like that is the balance we have to figure out as well
Yeah,
because I mean we are still human and like the other day when we went out, the two of us with some friends of yours, we went out to eat in a Chinese restaurant. We didn't need to do that,
yeah,
but we wanted to, and we had a good evening, right?
yeah. That
So
was that is actually like a treat to ourselves, you know.
yeah,
And also to have a gathering with other people. Yeah, because we
exactly,
don't do it all the time. It's not like we do it every day. So once in a while, it's okay.
right.
Yeah,
It's a difference doing it like if you meet people again after some time and you do it rather than do I really need to order Uber Eats every single day? Like
yeah.
it's that's definitely a difference. Um, so for you personally, I already heard for you, money is basically what gives you gives you the option or the freedom to do what you want. So that's how you treat money in your life. Is that fair to say? Like it's a mean for you to have the freedom to do what you want.
Yes, yes. Because everything, everywhere you go, you need money.
Yeah.
It's a form of exchange for goods and services. So yeah, realistically, you need money to do anything in any country. Mostly,
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't been to a country that doesn't require money.
Well, if you find that country, please let me know.
Yeah. So, but still, to get to this point, we have to like still have to work hard in the early stages of our life
Yeah.
to because you need money to make money
That's a
in the investment
good
sense.
quote.
In the investment sense, you need money to make money. So you still have to work hard in your early days
Right.
to have a form of capital. Yeah.
So also to maybe look a little bit more at your vision because there's also other people that say, um, I mean, obviously creating passive income, like you can, for example, do with stocks, is a great way to have to never actually work again. But then other people say, like, if you are doing what you love, for example, maybe you're super good at writing books,
Mhm.
maybe you enjoy doing a podcast, and maybe that will monetize at some point. It's also obviously it's work. Everything we do is work, but that might be a way for a lot of people as well to find something they truly enjoy, and then the work not being that much of a like
A chore.
stress factor, like yeah, like a chore to them. But for you personally, you really want to take that, like you said, you want to retire. Like your vision is to put up enough capital to have that passive income, to not have to worry about basically, like you said, working for the money ever again, but having the money work for you.
Yes. Yeah. But like you said, like just now, there are a lot of ways to earn money. It doesn't have to be stocks, or investments. But
Right.
some people they because they like finance stuff,
Mm,
and then they do YouTube channel about finance stuff.
right.
And yeah, I've seen a lot of YouTube channels back home, especially nowadays they are getting more and more of this kind of channels.
Mm,
And then they just talk about maybe like the best credit card, best savings account,
right.
best low risk investments, or how to save money when traveling overseas. But these kind of topics, and they earn money through all these uh, YouTube money. Yeah, and yeah, and they like doing it. So
Yeah.
that is the I do love doing something and able to have income is also like very important. Yeah, so that because then you can continuously do it, right? Yeah,
Yes.
it's not like a job that you don't like, and then you're forced to go to work every day.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's the because you still need to invest time. Like these people need to try these different credit cards. They need to read through all the conditions. Like they also have to invest time into that. But yeah, firstly, they enjoy it. And especially with that specifically, they also get something out of it for themselves.
yeah,
So they find it out for themselves and they enjoy sharing it with other people. And if a little bit of money gets in, of course, that's also always good.
yeah, yeah. And I see some of them they do they create their own expense tracker for,
Right.
and then people can actually buy this tracker to track their expenses.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, there's a lot of
right.
this
Well,
kind of things that people do, and it's really I mean it requires quite a lot of effort to do all this,
to really, yeah,
to study,
have
to
it make
edit the
sense.
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's what you like, I think it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. But since you mentioned expense tracker, because I have you sitting here now, I personally feel like if I had a budget, like you said, an expense tracker, or just like actually tracking your income and your expenses, that would help me a lot also in my financial journey. So I don't do that because I'm too lazy. I've never started. Is it actually something you do?
I started when I first started working, I did track my expenses. So
Right.
there's a expense tracker app in Google Play Store that I installed, and then every time I buy something, I record down. I
Right.
drink coffee, I record down, and then
Yeah.
like the first few months it was alright. I keep track of everything, but
Mm.
after a while it gets quite tiring to track
Yeah.
every single cent in dollars. So after that, I didn't do it anymore. And the easier way that I pick up to track all this is to just use my credit card most of the time, and then
Right.
yeah, the month of the bill, my monthly bill is what I spend from there. So I don't have to keep track of
So you
everything one by
try
one. Yeah,
you try not to use cash like
I try
at
not to.
all.
Yeah, so I use credit card most of the time because credit cards, some most of the cards give you there's some form of benefits to it.
Right.
Some give you cashback, some give you air miles. Yeah. So previously I was using a cashback card back home. Yeah, and it gives me some money back
But that
for what I spent.
that's
Yeah.
like Singapore exclusive credit card, or is that something that might be interesting to people from around the world as well?
I think every country has their own different kind of card,
Right.
so I don't think it's applicable to other country.
But
Yeah,
but
but
that's what you would say, like maybe look into like what kind of credit card your country offers and that
yeah,
you
all
can
the
get.
banks, and then you do a comparison, what suits your lifestyle. Yeah, I
Right.
think it's important. If you are good at managing your finance, I think it's good. It's very very good to have a credit card because
Right.
when you spend money and you get something back, and then you pay the bank on time, your credit card bills, your credit
Yeah.
credit score actually improves as well, which
Right.
makes borrowing money easier next time if you need from the bank. Yeah,
But I mean, I think that's an important point as well. If you're good at managing money,
yeah. If you're good at managing,
because I feel like for a lot of people, credit cards can really pose a trap as well.
yeah,
Because uh, I mean, yeah, debit cards don't really do these benefits, right? That's why they want to entice a credit card. They only offer it for credit cards because they want people to use them because they obviously um, aim at people spending too much.
Mhm.
not being able to cover their bills on time, and then you end up with a lot of like high rates to pay it back.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's why, like you said, I think if you have your spending habits under control, then it's a very good opportunity.
Yes.
But you also need to
Yes.
be careful.
Yeah, you have to be careful. But it also trains your discipline.
Right.
Yeah, I think that is really, really important if you want to learn how to manage your finance. Yeah, because credit card fees are really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Um, so we already went into some details here because it just became interesting right from the get go. But maybe take us back a little bit. So, said you were working in aviation engineering for quite some time in Singapore. And you also mentioned that nowadays there's more and more YouTube content available in Singapore. So, my question is like, when you started to work, did you always have that vision, or did it come along at a specific time? Like, did your thinking change? And also, do you think in general that in Singapore, information like that is easily accessible? Like, are the people having this kind of mindset, or is it rather rare?
Mhm. Oh, that's a lot of questions.
I know, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the how I came about with this retiring early thinking
Yes.
mindset is because I came from a not so well to do family.
Right.
So I'm not born rich. And I'm just maybe a lower income family. Yeah, so
Hmm.
money is not I don't have a lot when I was young. And and when I finished my polytechnic, which is a diploma to get my diploma.
Hmm.
After I finished that, I don't have money for a university education.
Hmm.
So so I had to start working early. Yeah, and that's
So
why
you worked to be able to go to university.
that was my initial plan was to
Right.
work and earn enough to go to university.
Yeah.
And yeah, so after working, so I joined the military at 20.
Hmm.
Yeah, after straight away after getting my diploma, and then I worked for 5 years in the military. So at that time, I already started managing my finance ever since I start working because
Right.
because I don't have a lot and I know how is it like to have to not have enough to buy what I want.
Right.
And
So
yeah,
you had that vision like for a long time. You said,
yeah, for a long,
I want it to be different than when you grew up. You want to have money. You want to be able to, well, yeah, like you already told us, do what you want, spend it on
yeah,
what you want.
yeah. So I started really early, and then back then I only did I never start investment at the beginning.
Hmm.
So I did those simple stuff like getting the best credit card for myself, the best savings account.
Right.
Yeah, this kind of simple stuff, and then trying to reduce my expenses for what I don't need. Uh, yeah, and don't yeah, and learning how to differentiate, the needs and wants. Yeah, so I started really early, and after the 5 years in the military, I was able to go to university. I had enough, but the university that I applied for, I didn't get in.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was really sad, and then I took up another job.
Hmm.
Uh, and while I was doing that job, I took another university, a part-time degree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was doing a full-time job and a part-time study. And
That
then
must have been so exhausting. Like,
yeah, that is really exhausting
you had
because
no
after
free
working,
time.
yeah, no free time at all. And then the course is like 4 to 5 years. I have to do it for like 4 to 5 years.
Right.
And after the first year, I was so exhausted because I literally don't have time. I
Yeah,
have to after work I have to go to class, then I have to do assignments.
and it was all, I suppose, still classes where you had to go to. It wasn't online courses at that point, right?
Uh, some are online courses, but
So,
because engineering there are lab lessons. You need to go to a
right.
laboratory. So
Yeah.
those can't be online. You have to do physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have to go to the school, and yeah, it was really really tiring. And so after 1 year, I decided to drop out of the school, and yeah, that is one of the reasons only why I drop out of school. And second reason is because like the things I learned in school, I find I don't really use it in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, even after working so long, a lot of things that I learned previously, I don't apply it at work. So yeah, so when I don't see the need, I don't see the usefulness of what I learned in school.
Right.
I don't have the motivation to learn. Yeah, so every time I'm attending class, I always think to myself, I learn all these things. How do I apply in real life? Then
Right.
if I cannot apply it in my daily life, I
Whatever.
cannot absorb into my mind. Yeah, and
And
that's another major factor why I stopped schooling.
you also didn't think at that point, because I think the biggest argument for going to university is that afterwards you might be able to earn more. So you also didn't see that part, that if you went through with the education you might get a higher salary afterwards, or was that not worth it in your
No,
calculation?
that is definitely true, especially in Singapore,
Right.
where people see paper qualification
Mm.
as 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 very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely I thought about that
Mm.
because the reason why I want to get a degree initially was also to get a better job, higher
Right.
salary. Yeah, so but I couldn't put up with it with that part-time
It's,
study and full-time
it,
work
it
stress.
it takes yeah, it takes everything away from you,
Yeah,
because I
you have to
mean,
do it for like 4 to 5 years, and that is yeah. After I'm done, I will be in my 30s.
yeah.
So yeah, I can't see myself doing that, and so I find other ways to make money, and that's how I gone to do investment more seriously.
Right.
Yeah, so I learned options trading
So you
and
basically reinvested that time that you now had from not going to class anymore to educate yourself about stuff that you thought was more helpful
yeah,
for
and
your like vision and your monetary financial journey.
yes, and I really like this topic about financial. So these things come really quickly into me.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, so I started learning more deeply into investment after I stopped schooling. Yeah, and yeah,
And just to give us another time frame, so from you deciding, um, I'm not gonna finish this studying, I'm gonna rather after work learn more about how I can make myself financially more free, um, to then you coming to New Zealand. So how much time was in between there? So how long did you go on doing that in Singapore?
so that was about 2 years,
Two
2 years
years.
before I came to New Zealand. Yeah, yeah, but that was, but I only get serious into investment like after I left the military.
Right.
Yeah, at that point, yes.
And because I do believe at the point where you leave for New Zealand, I mean, obviously, we are on a working holiday visa, meaning anytime we do need money, we are allowed to work. We can work here. But you probably saw yourself then in a position where you were able to travel and where you had some money saved up to finance that travel, right?
yeah, yeah. So I already prepared a sum of a little bit of my savings for
Right,
this trip because I'm quite confident that I can get back this money.
right.
Yeah, because it's not a large sum of money actually.
Mm.
When when if but of course I don't anyhow spend even though I'm here. Yeah,
Yeah,
to,
true.
that's why I can earn back those money. Yeah, but I still have to work over here. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean I don't work.
No,
Like I
of
still have to
course.
find things to do. It doesn't mean I don't do anything. Yeah, like let's say back in Queenstown, I was still working as a housekeeper
Yeah.
because the rent is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
can.
housing rent is really expensive, and I can't cover the cost, so I have to work. But at least I know that I don't have to put in more hours to work like before because
Right.
I have alternative ways.
So you still like you have that balance.
Yeah,
You still have enough time to also work on your own financial portfolio, and also, of course, while you're here, enjoy, do the things you like. I mean, you took on snowboarding in
yeah.
Queenstown. You learned to do snowboarding, which you didn't do in Singapore because
There's no snow there. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. That is actually one of my main thing that I want to do. And before I came here, like I want to learn snowboarding.
That
So
was
that was one of the things that I really, really, really want to do.
right.
And yeah, I'm glad I pick it up because it's so fun.
It
But it's still expensive. It's really expensive.
is an expensive hobby.
Yeah. I cannot imagine myself doing it if I don't have my financial plan out
Right.
like many years back. If I didn't plan out, I don't think I can do all this today. Yeah, I'll be like quite stressed out about money.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see people doing like 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and they're putting in so many hours at
That
work.
that's
That
kind of the thing. You can never really. I mean, no, it's not necessarily true. Like, there's also people that work a lot and also find some time for their hobbies. But in general, um, I think, yeah, if you always have to stress about it and don't really have a plan, then it is harder to realize these things you like. Then they always kind of stay dreams rather than goals. Like you say, I want to learn snowboarding, and you make a plan towards it. And then at some point, say, okay, I need to work to cover my accommodation. And then I have this money coming in, I can spend part on it to
Mhm.
go snowboarding 2 times, 3 times a week. And I think that's important too, right? Just making a plan. Like, again, um, obviously, this would rather be a want than a need. But
Yeah, yes.
again, we are
Yeah,
still human, so it's like you should have these goals, and then yeah, work towards them and see how you uh, can realize them without automatically afterwards again being stressed.
yeah,
Because that's also the thing. You could say, okay, I go snowboarding now one time, and then afterwards it's like, what am I going to eat tomorrow? You
yeah,
know, so
yeah,
that's
yeah. That's that. It comes down. Actually, it all comes down to planning.
right.
Like these things doesn't take one day, 2 day, a week, a month of planning. It takes years, you know. So it's very important to start early. Yeah,
Yeah.
planning your financials. Yeah,
Um, all right. So again, we skipped a little bit towards where we are now again. I didn't forget my other questions. Like you said, I asked you a lot of questions once at a
yeah. I
time.
forgot. But
So um, the other thing I asked is, in Singapore society in general, do you think that this is a common mindset that people have, or is it something that is rather rare? The idea of just managing your finances, planning, like, do you think a lot of people have that under control in Singapore?
I think more and more people are getting, uh, especially the younger generation. I think they are
Mm,
more and more aware of all this, financial importance of
right.
financial. Yeah, because in Singapore, generally everything is really expensive, except for maybe food.
Right.
Yeah, I compare it to New Zealand. Food is much cheaper in Singapore, and yeah, the rest of the things are just more expensive. Yeah, and yeah, a lot of things you have to, if you want to buy, you need a lot of money. So
Yeah.
it's not like you save up 1 year and you can buy, like let's say a house, you can't buy.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to really plan way ahead in advance.
I feel like that specifically is a huge problem all over the world, though. Like
Uh,
young people, well, at least I know it from Germany, where the cost of buying a house is horrendous. And
mm,
in Portugal, um, it's like if you look at the values, it's cheaper. But then again, if you look at how much the average Portuguese person earns, it's also very hard for people to really own a house. Like it takes decades, like
to pay
maybe
off.
50 plus years to really fully pay and own the property. So, do you think, just asking for Singapore, that this is still like a real, like a possible dream for young people to really own property at some point?
Mm, I think we can own property. Most of us, because the government try to keep the housing low.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but it is still increasing every year. So,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's not cheap to buy a house, but we have this scheme, that government set up for us. It's called
Right.
Central Provision Fund. So
Hmm.
basically, every month you work, like 20% of your salary will go to this fund, and
Oh,
this fund will grow at 4% to 6%, and you can't touch this money. Basically, this money is used for your house, to buy a house.
that is actually really cool.
Yeah, not many countries
No.
do this. So actually, it really helps a lot of uh, people to buy house, to afford house.
S-
Yeah, if not, let's say some countries, like if you get all the money that you earn, you tend to spend
Yeah.
away. Yeah, so this actually force you to have some sort of savings, to buy
And
a roof on top of your head, which is a need.
it
Yeah,
is. So that fund is mandatory for everyone, or can they opt into
no,
it?
it's mandatory. So
Everyone.
every Singaporean.
Oh, that is really cool. Like that's a good thing the government does. And I guess the 4% that they pay yearly is also fully subsidized by the government. They
Yes,
pay that.
yeah, they pay that. Yeah,
Oh, I like
the
that.
government take the money and they do their own investment,
Right.
and then they give us. Yeah,
And of course, they have it to like also use for their financial gains, but
yeah,
nonetheless, they guarantee you 4%, right?
yeah, yeah. It's guaranteed.
Yeah,
Yeah. So actually, the government takes quite good care of us. Yeah, not many places have this kind of scheme.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Singapore in general, like its economy is doing pretty good, right? That's what I from the outside would believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because yeah, it's one of the richest country in Southeast Asia.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that obviously, like you said, if it's a rich country, a good economy, then it means that the cost of living
It's high.
also is high.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the other side of it. But
Yeah.
no, but that is actually a really good thing to, because especially in Europe, I believe that's one of the bigger issues is that younger people will not be able to own property. It will go to where like older people and like companies that bought these houses back in the 60s, 70s, maybe 80s, um, like bought the houses cheap, that they own them and they will only rent them out for the rest of like for the rest of their lives. Um, so yeah, that's actually a really cool thing for the government to think about. Okay, how can we get people to save up to own property?
Yeah, yeah,
It's nice. Um, so you also said because of living in such a good economy, especially the younger people, they see all that, they are aware, and they care more and more about also contributing towards their financial future.
yes, yes. More. Yeah, that's why there's more and more this kind of financial channels coming out
Right.
in YouTube. Yeah, and yeah, it also comes down to the upbringing
Right.
of the child or whoever. If they are born in a rich family, then of course
They will teach them.
their need their yeah their wants will be different from someone that isn't born as wealthy. Yeah.
Right. That actually reminded me of another question that I stored in my head while you were telling us your story. So I can only imagine after hearing your story now. So you grew up not that wealthy, not being really able to do and spend money on everything you wanted in your childhood. And then you had that vision and you started to work and like earn that money. And in the beginning, like how easy or hard was it actually to manage that money, manage those wants and needs? Because you are earning money for the first time in your life as well. So you could easily go the other way as well and just be like, now I can get all these things and spend it all. So how easy or hard was that actually?
Oh, to me it was it was quite I have to say yeah, it was quite easy. It comes naturally
Right.
because even though I started earning this money, I s- I still keep myself very frugal.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm someone that is very easily contented.
Hmm.
Yeah, so having too much, like I don't see it as something good, because you need to learn to live with less, and then when you have more, you will appreciate it.
I agree. I,
Yeah.
I definitely, but that's beautiful that you always had that because I think I also told it on the episode we did with Mariella where she interviewed me. Um, in general, I was always the same. Like I had a different upbringing than yours. My parents were not rich by any means, but they were wealthy. Like you can definitely say that. Um, but nonetheless, for me, I also was never really materialistic. So I also didn't really want to spend money on all of these things. But I had one thing, which was designer clothing, which was always my kind of thing where I did spend a lot of money because for a long time I just felt like this is what you could say a treat or it's something that I needed for my ego, um, or whatever. But that was one thing where I wished that earlier I could have seen like, yeah, it's also not that important. So for me, I felt like, yeah, it is easy in this society where distraction is always around us, marketing is always around us,
Yeah.
to just be like, oh, maybe I do need these things. but it is really good if you don't have that. Like you're not lured in by these things, and you know who you are, you know what you need, you're content, like you said. So it's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's something that I think I feel everybody can learn. Yeah, uh, especially I think if you travel to more countries,
Yeah.
you will see more people with different kind of lifestyle.
Right.
Especially when I go to Vietnam, I see like obviously some of them they don't have more than me,
Yeah.
like from I can tell, but they are more happy than me. Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
when I was there, I was quite shocked because I see that they really enjoy what they are doing, and they are always smiling and very happy. So it really brings me to reflect on myself. Yeah, because I even till the day uh, that I left the military, I was still wanting to have more, to grow my capital more. But
Yeah.
then I realized after I went to these countries, I realized actually I already have enough.
Hmm.
I don't really need so much more. I can, because what I have is already to some people from some country, they need like many years to get to where I am today.
Right.
So I think I need to be grateful, yeah, to have uh grateful to what I have now. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so beautiful because I had the same experience when I went to Indonesia.
Mm,
Like, I mean, obviously, we went to school in Jakarta, where it was already better than 90% of the rest of the country. But even there, and especially like on the streets, you could see it. Like the people are so much happier. They're so much more giving as well. I feel like in countries where the people don't have too much, they are also always way more welcoming, and they're helping each other more, and it's more of a community and not really an. And I don't know how it is in Singapore, but in Germany, oftentimes it feels like it's against each other,
mm,
because some people feel, oh, if this person, I don't know, um, drives a good car, for example, it means that I can drive a good car, which makes no sense at all. But it's where, like, or it's like, oh, I have a good meal at home. And if I would share it with my neighbor, then it's less worth to me, which again doesn't make sense. So, yeah, like you said, especially in Southeast Asia, I really, um, and we talked about this with Adam as well. He was one of the guests on the podcast who traveled through Southeast Asia on his bike,
mm.
and he also said like the people are so welcoming, even though in those countries, um, I know in Vietnam you probably also had some problems like communicating because English gets you to some point, but
Yes.
especially in the more rural regions, it's hard to communicate, and they are still trying. Like they always try to help you, and yeah, it's such nice people.
Yeah. It really changed your perspective when you start to go to this country and actually live in it,
Yeah,
not just there on holiday, but actually just live there.
yeah.
Yeah. And then it really changed your view about life and what you have. And yeah, and then you will appreciate.
So another question that I have is, because I feel we gotten a good picture of you now, of your journey, of what you've been through. Um, so with you saying you already feel like you have a lifestyle where you feel very grateful, and you don't necessarily need to earn a lot more in the future. do you see your life happening in Singapore, or do you see your life traveling more as well? Because I could believe if, and you said you want to have the freedom to do what you do. So if what you want to do is travel, I believe that always comes with a little bit more cost
Yes.
naturally because um, traveling is a very expensive. Well, I'll just call it a hobby for because I don't have another word at the moment.
Yeah.
But that is probably then the majority of where you need to get that money, right? Is for the traveling. Is that
Yeah. So yeah, so my my plan was to visit different countries.
Mhm.
My plan, yeah, and to see where is a suitable place that I want to stay in. That I think
Right,
I can be happy at. Yeah, because back home I wasn't happy. Even
right.
even without working in Singapore, the life is still very fast paced,
Mhm.
and you see people rushing everywhere, and it makes
Yeah,
your mood like you feel nervous all the time because you see people rushing.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find the purpose of me traveling is also to find a place that I want to be in.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and yeah, so right now I'm still searching for it.
S- So, I mean, obviously, with comparison, maybe comes uh, like a result like later as well. So, what I mean by that is because what I heard from the answers, you haven't found that place yet. But if you maybe travel a couple of more years, it might be possible that in hindsight, you're like, oh, maybe it is New Zealand, or to just say one name at random.
Mm.
Um, Do you think that's possible, or do you think you just haven't found that place yet and you still need to look for that place?
Mm, I'm still looking because I want to do comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't been to many places yet. Uh, at the moment, maybe only a few countries that I stayed quite a while at. But New Zealand is, to me, New Zealand is a really nice place with
Mhm.
all the views, scenic views.
Such a beautiful
Yeah, it's so
country.
beautiful. But the cost of living is really high here.
Yeah.
So it's somewhere that I don't see myself I will be in, even though I really like the place a lot,
Mhm.
but I don't see myself living here for a long time. And also it's because of the food. There
Hmm.
isn't much good Asian food here.
Right. No,
Yeah,
that's fair enough.
so
Um,
I still need a Asian country.
so, so that's
After
what
yeah,
you
after
think,
being in New Zealand, I feel like I still need to be in the place that the food suits my taste bud.
right?
Yeah. So there are of course there are some criteria that I'm looking at, including cost of living, uh, groceries, transportation,
Mhm.
yeah, all this.
Um, Another thing that came to my mind that I feel like is the biggest hurdle, and in my opinion shouldn't be, but that's the world we live in, is also like obviously visa restrictions. Is that
Oh,
something you think about as well? Like how easy is it even to like migrate to that country? Like is it easy to live there permanently? Like is that a thought that you have as well?
yeah, it definitely came into my mind because I was actually uh I went to this place in China called Yunnan, and this town called Lijiang.
Mhm.
So I really like this place, and so far it's my number one choice.
Oh, cool.
And when I do some research on the type of visa that is available, there isn't any.
Mm.
So,
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, but for us Singapore, we can still go there. We can still go to China visa free, but it's
Right.
only for 30 days.
30.
30 days. Yeah.
That's
So
That's not very long.
Yeah, that's not very long. So I have to every time get out of the country and then go back
And
in. So it
right.
doesn't make sense. So yeah, maybe if in the future I really decide to be there,
Mhm.
maybe I will read up more. I'll do some more research, and yeah, maybe to find a way to be just to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, because that is sometimes the problem, right? You find a place and you want to be there, but then bureaucracy just makes it so hard because
Yeah,
they don't let you in the country, they
yeah,
don't want you to get a permanent residency,
yeah.
stuff like that.
No country wants you to come in and do nothing. You must bring value to the place. So
Yeah,
if I really want to stay there, I still have to bring some skills over and to work. Yeah,
right.
because the government wants you to every government wants to bring up the economy. You can't Nobody wants to bring in people from outside and then do nothing.
Yeah, from their point of view, obviously that
Yeah,
makes sense as well.
that is the only I think the only way that I see myself going back to work is to get a visa for a place that I want to be in.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know if, I mean, in China specifically, because that's what we just talked about, you know if there's an option to get that visa not only by working but by bringing your investment money into there? Because I know from my personal research that the United States, for example, have such an option, because that was a country that for some time I was looking into maybe living there um, for some time or for my life actually. And I found out that you can get the residency, obviously, if you have a skilled work and you find a job there, but also if you invest a certain amount of money, which at that point I think was 900,000 US dollars, um, into a region where the economy isn't very good. So, do you think or feel like, I mean, obviously these are horrendous numbers, but um, just a theoretical option that exists for China as well to buy your value kind of with your investment, with your money?
Oh, if I can do that, I will definitely try it. But I still don't have that. I believe I still don't have that capital
I think
to do
like
this yet
it,
because
yeah,
because it's a big sum of money that
yeah, I think
the government is looking at.
it must be a big, yeah, like I said, I don't know if China even offers something like that, but if they do, it's probably, yeah, it's a very high
Very high,
amount
yeah.
of money.
But I will take it if I have the money. But
Yeah,
that is
right.
if I'm lucky with my investment.
So from your story, we already covered a lot of interesting things, but maybe just to bring it down to one aspect, question that we also like to cover here on this podcast is, from all your experiences that you did so far, if someone uh, comes to you and they say, what would you recommend me to do to find more meaning, more purpose in my life? So, and we already talked about a lot of stuff where we said, okay, this can be useful to people. But if you would have one thing, what would you say everyone should do in their life? What do you think has the most impact on your quality of life for someone?
Impact of quality of life. Mm, improving your financial knowledge.
So you
Yeah.
think that that is the one where the
I think
most value comes
yeah,
from?
everybody. I think everybody lives will be better if they have better control and better knowledge of their finance, financial. Yeah, and of course, also to be contented
Right.
with what you have, and yeah, just live life simply because you don't know what will happen tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. So that that is a good thing for people to live by um, financially. Maybe to just switch the topic completely, um, because another fun topic that we love to cover here is food. And since you already brought up food yourself by saying you probably want to live in an Asian country because the food there suits more your taste buds. So we are always looking for recommendations, also things people might not really know about yet. So just from your personal likings, um, what kind of food would you say people should also try? What do you say are nice foods, maybe either in Singapore or
Mhm.
China or,
Mhm.
or wherever you have been? Like, what do you think is something people should try?
Should try. I think nice and healthy food. Definitely Japanese food.
Hmm,
I think that is to me is the nicest. Yeah, there isn't much. There's because there is sushi,
right.
raw sushi. Like it's not really it's not unhealthy at all.
Hmm,
Unless of course some people will say raw fish is sometimes there will be worms or
yeah,
something. Yeah, but generally it's quite healthy because you see Japanese live a longer life than
that's a
most people.
very true
Yeah, so
point.
must be they eat a lot of fish.
And
Yeah.
I mean, they know how to prepare too, so I also wouldn't
Uh,
be too worried about like worms. Oh, you gave
yeah.
me nightmares. No, no, just kidding.
Yeah, so Japanese food, I think everybody must try. Even though I'm not Japanese, but I love Japanese food
Yeah.
because I have to eat it every week.
Oh,
Because
really?
yeah,
Every
because
week?
it's just so nice and it's not heaty at all. Like it's not like fast food that you eat. You if you eat too much, you'll get sore throat or
Yeah.
you'll get fever, you'll fall sick. But this kind of like sushi, you can eat as much as you want and you won't have fever. You won't yeah, you won't the risk of falling sick is lower. Yeah.
Yeah. Japanese food.
Mm.
Definitely. Because they, like you said, they must do something wrong. Right. Like every time we talk about the countries, like the blue zones, like the countries where the regions where people live the longest, Japan is always up
Yeah. I think it must be with what they eat. Yeah, so everybody should try Japanese food, you know. And also personally I my second choice is Chinese cuisine,
there.
like things like fried noodles, dim sum. Yeah, this isn't exactly more healthy, but but it's what I grew up eating.
No, but that's all
Yeah.
right. We already gave the people a healthy option. Now we can
Yeah,
give
so we
them
give
a
the unhealthy option.
we
Yeah,
can
but
give them a
it's still not so unhealthy, but it's not as healthy as Japanese food.
right.
Yeah, but it's what I grew up eating. So I can't not have this food in my life, you know.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely makes
But
sense.
I think everybody should try, especially dim sum. Yeah.
Th- That's the one. Wait, it's wrapped right into dough. Is
Uh
that seems
no, you like it's like you know, siu mai, uh, xiao long bao. It's those kind of they have this kind of heating pots,
oh the
and
yeah
then
like
there's
the
a few pieces inside.
right
Yeah, and then they bring it to you, cup after they steam,
right and
and
you
then they
open
serve
it
you and then when they open it, all the steam will come out.
yeah
Yeah, those kind.
oh, yeah yeah those are quite cool.
Yeah, there's some in New Zealand, but not as nice as the ones that I have back home.
And I must say like this week we went out to eat and I don't know what the traditional name of the thing we ate is, but the minced beef noodles that we tried were
Yeah.
really good as well. Like they really tasted my like suited my taste buds as well. Like I enjoyed it. It was
That's
really good.
surprising because I was quite shocked that you like it
No, it was really
because
good.
it's a Chinese food. And I didn't know you will be able to accept it.
No, it
But
was really it was new, which I like. I always like trying new foods and just seeing. Maybe I wouldn't like it, but I like to try. And this one, I really enjoyed.
glad, yeah, I'm glad that you like it
So,
because it's one of the famous food that people usually eat.
so is that like in English? That's what it would be called, minced beef noodles, or does it have a different name? If people want
If you
to
translate it
try it,
into from Chinese to English, yeah, it's called minced beef noodle.
right?
Yeah, but different even in China, different cities or province, they have different style of doing that dish
Right.
that meal that you just had
Mm,
the other day. And some people make it spicy, some people they don't cook it spicy, some people they
mm,
cook it in soup form.
right.
Yeah, they have different kinds of preparation. Yeah, and when I went to China, I thought the one that we had
Mhm.
the other day it was dry. So
Yeah.
that was the minced beef noodle that I know
Yeah.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, so when I went to China and I went to different town to eat,
Mm.
I was shocked because some places serve it in noodle, some places they serve it in spice. And when you tell them, "Oh, I don't want spice," they say no, they can't cook it without spice.
That's the way they do.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
different province they do it differently.
Right.
So you can see really the same food, but
But
there is
everyone,
so diverse. There's so many different style of making it.
I mean, China, I guess, if you think about it, is a huge country. So every region kind of has
Yeah,
their own recipe to the traditional
yeah,
dish.
and that is just food. That's just one part food.
Eh,
I'm
Yeah.
really like only these 3 years that I starting to get very fascinated about the Chinese culture. Previously,
Mhm.
I don't like. I speak more of English with my friends and at
Right.
work, but back home I speak Chinese with my relatives, with my family.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't really uh, I still practice the Chinese tradition, but I don't
Mhm.
go and study it,
Right.
and go and understand deeply. But after going to China once, I realized there's more to it. There's more to this Chinese culture, and it's really so diverse. And I feel like I can never know everything
Right.
in just one like this Chinese language. Yeah, even the words I won't be able to know every single word because there's just too many
Like
words.
Mandarin is such a huge language. It's like
Yeah. For me, I only know English and Mandarin, so I cannot compare to other languages. I can only compare these two, but I feel that Chinese is more difficult than English. And
I think so.
and when I start to read now, I usually read more of Chinese books
Mhm.
because it's more meaningful. To me, it's more meaningful.
Right.
I'm not sure about other language like you. Do you read more German books or
Well, I actually read mostly, like exclusively in English, because that's what I did when I was young. Like my mom always loved to read in English, so she has a lot of books in her bedroom, and I just grabbed them and like read them as well. Um, so for me, I always was used to reading in English, and I personally also believe that English, compared to German in specific, is a more like beautiful language, like it has more imagery in its language. German is a language to be objective. It's a scientific language. It's a language that people use to like innovate things. Like that's kind of what the Germans are proud of as well, and they should be. Like they're scientific, but that shows in the language as well. It's a very neutral language. It's a very to the point language. And English, um, again, comparing with Portuguese, obviously English would be less imagery because the Portuguese, the Spanish, they are even more like they speak in images and like Spanish is a very beautiful language. Like a lot of the sayings are just yeah, the words are just so beautiful and they mean so much. Um, but anyway, my Spanish is not good enough for me to read any books in Spanish yet. Maybe at some point. Um, so that's why I preferred English because one, I'm used to it, and second, I feel like the words mean more in English. So even if I read like, for example, when you came in, I was reading a French book, or rather, a book by a French author.
Mhm.
Since I'm not reading it in the original language, which would be French, I could read it in German, but I choose to read the English translation
Mhm.
because that's what I'm more used to.
Mm.
But on the topic of books, that would actually be pretty interesting. Um, I mean, obviously, you're also free to give us any English book, but I would actually love to have some Chinese book recommendations because that's also something we, again, always want to bring people stuff they don't know about. So if you would have one book, maybe two, but one is enough, what you would say, that's a very nice book. I would recommend it to people. Do you have one?
Yeah, I have one. And it's actually one of the first book that I read
Hmm.
when I was here
All
in
right.
New Zealand and staying here as well in Jailhouse.
Oh, nice.
So it's a book about life actually. So if I translate to English, the title is uh, "Life is Short. Don't understand it too late."
That's a beautiful title.
Yeah, if I translate it in English. So the book is about life, but uh, decisions that you make
Mhm.
and and how someone and the book uses a lot of different stories from different people and to tell you to give you a new perspective of life to see differently.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's a very inspiring book.
it
It
is a
sounds like.
it is a very inspiring book. That, but if you translate the book into English,
Mm.
some of the words that you read might not have uh, that impact.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the beauty about to me. That is the beauty about Chinese because a lot of things that you when you read it in Chinese is different when you read it in English.
Mm.
The meaning changes.
I,
Yeah, it doesn't give you that same impact, that same feeling.
yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to basically say anything about that because I haven't studied Chinese at all. But I always heard that's what it makes like such a hard language to translate because you can't really, right? Some words you can't one to one translate into English, and then obviously meaning will get lost.
Yeah, yes. That's why even if I want to recommend a book, I think it's difficult because you if I can translate the book into English,
Hmm,
yeah, the meaning will be there.
right. Just for the sake of completeness, what is the original title in Chinese of the book we just talked about?
In Chinese,
Yeah,
人生很短，不要明白太晚。
I'm very sure some people understood that and they can Google that or whatever Chinese search engine they use.
Yeah, there is available on Libby app.
On the
Yeah,
right.
you can just download the app on Play Store, and you can just borrow the book from the library. Yeah, it's available.
Nice. Well, sounds like a very inspiring book. I feel like that might actually be a good ending point because we talked about a lot of things. It's just a little bit over an hour, but we covered so much, so many interesting topics. Hopefully, topics that people can take some inspiration from as well. Um, so, yeah, Ri Chen, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for agreeing to have this conversation in English as well. And yeah, thank you overall.
Thank you for having me.
Of
Yeah,
course,
I'm really glad to be able to share some of my life
it was
in the podcast.
was really cool. All right. Um, enjoy the rest of your evening and bye, everyone.
Bye.